Welcome to Healing Wisdom, a Thursday morning talk show featuring guests sharing their stories and knowledge. We discuss the healing aspects of the arts, metaphysics, social justice, and adventure through all types of terrain. So join me, Pandora Peoples, here on WOMR 92.1 FM in Provincetown and WFMR 91.3 FM in Orleans. We're streaming worldwide at WOMR.org. Today we're joined by two-time Grammy Award-winning musicians Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer. We're also joined by Chinese dulcimer player Chao Tian. She's a former member of China's famous 12 Girls Band. She received her MA in musicology at the China Conservatory and became the director of the Arts Education Center at Beijing Language and Culture University. Their music combines Americana and Chinese traditional music. Their album, From China to Appalachia, is out now. Cathy and Marcy have performed on The Today Show and National Public Radio. The duo has released 52 recordings, and the three of them have performed in 30 different countries across the globe. Cathy and Marcy have even performed for the Queen of Thailand. I asked them about what brought them together to produce this album, From China to Appalachia.
So I'd say music connects us, and Cathy, Marcy, and I, we met at a program called Artists in Residency at Music Center Strathmore, Bethesda, Maryland, where I was one of the artist residents, and Cathy and Marcy were my advisor and mentor. So we met there and we started to jam, I believe. My first time, my first time jam experience in the United States. I'm actually in the world. So I started to jam with musicians, and Cathy Marcy introduced me to the American folk music world, also the improvisational world doing improvisation. So I started to do some old time music, American roots music with them. So I learned a lot. So I actually believe music connects us as universal language, break all my English language barriers and help me become a better musicians here. Yeah. That's my story.
So I've worked in this artist in residence program at the Music Center in Strathmore for 20 years now. And Chao, you were there in, was it 2016?
2017, actually.
2017. Yeah. So it's been 8 years that we've been friends. And from that initial jam session, we just realized how much we enjoyed playing music together. But we came across something else that turned into magic for the three of us, which is that there were pieces of American old-time music that resembled very much pieces of traditional Chinese music that Chao grew up with. And so we'd start playing a tune and she'd go, there's a tune like that in China. And for instance, on our album, we represent a couple of those. One of them that we represent, Marcy and I play a tune called Glory in the Meeting House. And just as we were sort of starting to teach that to Chao, she says, there is a Chinese tune that sounds just like that. And she started playing this tune. We put together a little arrangement. And when she got home, she looked up the information, and it turned out that this Chinese tune is called Lord Glory. So we have this mashup of Glory in the Meeting House and Lord Glory. And that same day when we were just working it all out, we just used our iPhone and did a little video that we threw up on TikTok, and it went insanely viral, which was really wonderful because it brought a lot of new people and a lot of young people to our shows. But right now, everything we're doing means even more. In the moment that we're in, as international cultural diplomacy initiated from the United States is being squashed, we can still travel around here and do that people-to-people cultural diplomacy. When we go someplace, very few people have heard a Chinese hammer dulcimer before. And I'm going to say that the virtuosity that Chao brings to the table is really unique. But then look what we've combined it with. Marcy is virtuosic on guitar, on the mandolin, on the cello banjo. The cello banjo is a very unique instrument, and she kind of reinvented that instrument. And we have multiple sort of core sounds to what we do. But one of those core sounds is the cello banjo, the 5-string banjo, and the Chinese dulcimer. And honestly, there's just nobody else making that sound. Or there are certainly other people that we love and respect making connections between Chinese culture, American culture, Chinese music, and American music. I think our place in the world is to find things that aren't being covered by them and that we specialize in. And it's great to add that to everything.
Also, I grew up playing hammer dulcimer among many hammer dulcimer players, and I had never heard anyone play as versatily and as beautifully as Chao. It was mesmerizing from the start. She's remarkable. And Cathy was the first woman to win the West Virginia State Old Time Banjo Contest, which is amazing. She's also the first woman to win this Clifftop contest, which is another banjo contest in West Virginia. So she is a virtuoso on the banjo, and she's taught many people who are coming up and doing great in their careers playing the banjo.
Yeah, the three of you together in this album from China and Appalachia, it's incredible that it's so smooth. It's technically so good, but there's so much emotion. I mean, it's interesting that one of your first, I think your first song on your album is called, what is it? August Flower?
Oh, August Flower.
Yes, it blooms. You know, I love music that resonates in this way where you feel like you're on this sort of journey of opening, you know? So your music blooms.
Thank you.
I think all three of us feel that way every time we play music together and every time we work on new material. You know, I'll be perfectly honest. The Chinese repertoire that Chao brings is really challenging for me. I have to work hard at it. And then I give her an old time tune and she's like, okay, I got this. But I love that challenge, and it just so happens that the 5-string banjo is beautifully suited to playing that music. And I think we all kind of feel that, and we all, you know, and we all embrace a lot of different styles and sounds, but there's something very special when we do something like August Flower or Youngjun Yanko or our little mashup of Kitchen Girl and the Midu Mountain Flower song. I mean, that's where we're finding that spot that we intersect that was kind of like it was there all along, but nobody knew it.
Musicians Marcy Marxer and Cathy Fink speak to the challenge of blending Americana with traditional Chinese music.
It's a natural fit.
Mm-hmm.
When we got together to jam with Chao, it really felt like we had played with her many times before. So we just fell in. And I think that has to do with not only musical chops, but personalities. And it was just been comfortable for me from the start.
And I think the technical challenges they're not overwhelming challenges. For me, it's like, okay, let's figure out what my best tuning for the banjo is. I've got a choice of 80 different tunings. Then I have to work out the fingering in each tuning. And the other thing is that the approach to, say, what I'm going to call a cascading scale on Chinese music is very different than American music. And so it just required stretching in a way that I really enjoyed doing. We also find that the Chinese music resembles more of the kind of tunes in old time music that we call crooked. They don't have even numbers of beats. They're not like tidy little 4-beat segments or something like that, and that was something that I had to adapt to. But again, what a great thing to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think of us as lifers, we are lifers in learning. And that's what we've done for years, and that's what Chao has done for years. All three of us are always looking for new and exciting things to play.
Yes. I'd say, just as we mentioned, we started with just jamming and we brought different things to the table and we see which one is perfect for us and we combined all those great stuff together. And I'd say, Cathy mentioned, seems like I can learn that old time tunes immediately, but actually just because they allow me to use my musical language to speak in this collaboration. I paid attention to those tunes. I learned those melodies, but sometimes not. But they allow me to use my own way to express those melody in a Chinese musical accent, I'd say.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think we've talked about this. We probably play the Chinese tunes with what we'd call a Southern American accent, but Chao actually encourages us to do that. She wants us to put our spin on the music she teaches us and vice versa. And I think that's part of the magic and part of the fun.
If you're just joining us now, you're listening to Healing Wisdom on WOMR. I'm Pandora Peoples, and we're speaking with two-time Grammy-winning performers Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer. Together, they've teamed up with Chao Tian, and they're coming to the Harwich Cultural Center on March 3rd. Their new album, From China to Appalachia, is out now, and this is Nan Ni Wan.
花篮的花儿香，听我来唱一唱，唱呀一唱，来到了南泥湾，南泥湾好地方，好的呀方，好地方来好风光。 好地方来好风光，到处是庄稼，马平地是牛羊听我来唱一唱，唱呀一唱，来到了那泥湾，那泥湾好地方，好的呀方，好地方来好风光，好地方来好风光。 到处是庄稼，遍地是牛羊。
I asked Cathy, Marcy, and Chao to share some of their favorite performance memories.
I love seeing Chinese people in the audience react to these tunes. It's just heartwarming and absolutely wonderful to play music and have some people feel like it's a touch of home for them.
For me, I remember our first show, very first show, even back to then, we were not from China to Appalachian as a trio, right? So our very first show was a house concert. And I remembered our recent show. So they are very different. So as a musician who were trained in a conservatory setting with classic music and traditional Chinese music, I'm not used to speak on the stage, talk to audience. I just played repertoires one by one. That was my past musical world. So after I met Cathy and Marcy at the Strathmore, they trained me to communicate with audience and to interact with audience, make a very intimate vibe to create music to public. So I remember my very first show they encouraged me to talk a lot on the stage. I was pretty nervous. Back to then, I had very limited vocabularies, English vocabularies. So I tried my best. And now my recent show with them, I believe, was at Creative Cauldron, Falls Church, Virginia. We did a great job that night. We communicate. Now I can confidently communicate with audience. I kind of like it. And I love talking jokes, storytelling a little bit with Cathy and Marcy. They're the experts. I am just, a pupil still learning from them. So those kind of things are very special moments for me.
I think one thing that's really amazing for me is that, Marcy and I have worked together as a duo for over 40 years. And through the years, we've worked with lots of different, part-time bands. And there's a couple of times where there's a third person where we just feel like, oh, we're family. This is easy, and this is one of those times that I feel like we're able to, all three of us, telecommunicate. And it doesn't feel like somebody's wedged their way into the Cathy and Marcy duo. It feels like everybody's opened up into a whole new thing that incorporates the best of what we all have to offer. And that's pretty special.
So you're going to be at the Harwich Cultural Center on March 3rd. Folks can go to the 204 website. I think if you just Google the 204, you'll find it. It's on Sisson Road. And thanks, Bob Weiser, for hooking us up. What is next? You are touring. Do you have another album that you're considering? What's up next for you?
Well, we have some exciting touring. We're going to be at Merlefest. We're going to be at the Winnipeg Folk Festival in the fall. We've got some residencies coming up in North Carolina. And one of the things about our touring, I guess it was a year ago, 23 and 24, we were on the Mid-Atlantic Artists tour roster. And every presenter, every venue that we worked with, there was an agreement with Mid-Atlantic Tours that we would not only do a public concert, but that we would do outreach events. And we just loved them. Sometimes it was a school performance. Sometimes it was a master class at a university. There have been a couple of cases where we've brought scores and had orchestral people join us. And I think the idea of community music, which happens to be the name of our company, Marcy and I, Community Music, Inc., the idea of being social music conductors, playing music with the community, not just for the community, is a big part of what we do. So we've got some plans that are stirring in the pot. We're talking about a children's album, and we're going to be doing a lot of shows for kids and schools in the fall. So I think that's going to mold itself, and it's going to be a multi-dimensional project that will also have some slides and videos and all of that, an opportunity to compare, hey, what was Chao's childhood like compared to ours, compared to what yours is now? And then I don't doubt for a second that there will be a follow-up to the album that you have. We're working on lots of material, and whenever we feel like it's ready, we'll hit the studio. High on a mountain, wind blowing free, thinking about the days that used to be. Standing all alone, wondering where the years of my life have flown. As I look at the valleys down below, they are green just as far as I can see. As my memory turns, oh, how my heart does yearn for you and the days that used to be. To be high on a mountain, standing all alone, wondering where the years of my life have flown.
Cathy Fink describes their album From China to Appalachia. It's more than just Appalachian music.
We've got a Django Reinhardt piece on the recording. We've got a ragtime piece on the recording. And we've got an original song of mine called Hold Each Other Up that has been kind of a thematic song since the pandemic happened. And I keep thinking, oh, we'll morph into some different song in that slot, but everybody wants it, and
it's relevant.
It's still
more relevant every single day.
Absolutely. Times are challenging right now, and everybody wakes up going, what can I do? How can I make things better? And I'm glad everybody's thinking about that and working on it. Sent my letters today off to my congresspeople and senators. But, there comes a time when we need to nurture each other. That's part of how we're going to get through insanely tricky times. So, I'm really pleased that that song has meant so much to so many people. And also, Chao plays the Chinese dulcimer as if it were a honky-tonk piano. And honestly, it doesn't get any better. You can't carry around a piano, but don't forget the hammer dulcimer in Michigan, where Marcy came from, used to be called the lumberjack's piano because it's like the inside of a piano, but you can carry it up the mountain.
Yeah, it was portable.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing you at the Harwich Cultural Center on March 3rd.
We're really excited about being there, and thanks for having this interview.
Thank you.
We're going to go out with Yang Zhong Yanko from Chao Tian, Cathy Fink, and Marcy Marxer off their album From China to Appalachia. You've been listening to Healing Wisdom at Outermost Radio. All of our shows are podcasts at WOMR.org. Also check out healingwisdomradioshow.com and contact me at pandora@WOMR.org.